Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our American Gods Season 2, Episode 6 Thoughts video. Just finished watching Episode 6, Donar The Great. In this episode, we see Shadow and Wednesday seek out Donar to repair the spear, but before the dwarf is able to etch the ruins of war, he requires a powerful artifact in exchange. On the journey, Wednesday tells Shadow the story of Donar the Great. So yeah, I just finished watching this episode and I really enjoyed this episode. This episode mainly consisted of this retelling of this story of Donar the Great, who's actually Odin's son. That's just Donar, I guess, is some kind of German translation for it or something. He said some kind of translation for thunder, and that's actually Thor. So we got Thor in this episode pretty much, which I thought was cool. I was confused at first. I was like, doesn't have more than one kid? Which I guess he does, kind of, in some mythologies. Anyways, he's only one, so that's not the point. The point is, this whole episode kind of centered around him telling the story of his son. It seemed to be taking place in the 40s, or just in the late 30s, and Wednesday owned a club, a theater, I should say, that had, like, burlesque shows and a strongman show with his son Thor showing off how strong he was, and we got to see Wednesday do a little bit of singing. Ian McShane singing was just the delight of mine. Like, as soon as he started singing at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, oh, I already love this episode. It's already one of my favorite episodes of the whole series because I love when you see my favorite actors sing, especially when they're pretty good at it. And Ian McShane / Odin / Wednesday was pretty great at it. I liked his style, singing about a burlesque show, and then at the end being sad about his son leaving. It was all great. I really, really enjoyed that addition, getting this kind of flashback at this different part in their history when they're still adapting to, trying to figure out where their places that they can get worship. So I really, really enjoyed this episode for all those different, just the concept and the idea of us getting like this flashback into the gods who we've already met, into their past, because they've been around for thousands of years. So why not show us a little bit more of their past besides just their origin stories in America? So I like that we're getting a little bit more of that. Nancy was there, Tech Boy was there trying to recruit Columbia, who I didn't quite understand what she's the god of. She's Miss America? Excuse me. She's Miss America? Is that what that is? I'm not sure. I didn't quite understand exactly what her character's thing was, like how she was a god, because she got replaced by Lady Liberty. So it's just like, But anyways, we get Techno Boy when he was, just running through the phone lines, and him and Odin both kind of clashing, but not too much. It was kind of a fun dynamic to kind of see, and I just enjoyed that. And then Nancy was running around yelling at everybody as he does, which is just great to see. But yeah, and then we've got Wednesday and Shadow having to steal a leather jacket for the dwarves in order for them to get their power back, which I just really, really enjoy the way they go about that. Because I mean, they could have just paid for it. They've got the money. They've been stealing money from other people all along. Like they've been conning people out of it. So, but I really enjoy that they lean into Shadow and Wednesday's skill, which is conning people, and they con this poor retail man out of a very expensive jacket. And I thought that was just really fun and interesting scene, especially with Wednesday dressed up as a bishop, just like, okay. But yeah, then the last thing I had written down was the fight, not fight, but a quick brief scene we see with Odin and Thor kind of about to kind of fight, and Thor actually is the one that broke the spear, Odin's spear, in half when they kind of parted ways, and so that was really interesting to see. It was so badass. He had a cane the whole freaking time, and then he puts it down and it turns into the spear. That was awesome. It was like Thor Ragnarok, but this book I'm pretty sure was written before that movie was out, so I'm gonna give it to Neil Gaiman before, and that was awesome nonetheless. I don't. Anytime you transform an everyday object into a weapon, like a hidden weapon, I'm on board for that. And so that was just a cool little addition, and kind of like a little fun little connection to the MCU at the same time, even though I imagine it might have been from the book already, potentially. But anyways, that's all my thoughts for this episode of American Gods. I'm sure let me know in the comments below what you thought about this latest episode of American Gods. Thanks again for joining me today. Sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.